Hi, this is Mato. Welcome to my online chess lecture. In this video I will show you a game between Magnus Carlsen and Jan-Krzysztof Duda. This is a game from the FIDE World Cup 2021. The game is very long, so I did extra analysis making sure that my viewers would fall asleep. Just kidding. Carlsen had white pieces and he started with e4. Duda played c5, the Sicilian defense. Knight to f3, d6, bishop to b5, check, the canal attack. Bishop to d7, bishop takes, bishop check, queen takes bishop. Castling, knight to f6, attacking the pawn on e4, defending, knight to c6. c3, intending d4, e6, d4, c takes on d4, c takes on d4, d5, e5, attacking the knight and gaining the space on the board. Knight to e4, knight from b to d2, knight takes knight, bishop takes knight. White has a space advantage, and usually players with the less space try to trade pieces. Bishop to b4 was played, bishop to f4, castling, queen to d3, bishop to e7, a3, rook from a to c8, g3 was played. This looks somewhat unusual. Carlsen played king to g2 and h4. Knight to a5, intending knight to c4, b3, queen to c6, bishop to d2, black to move, queen to b6. Invasion on the second rank doesn't work because of this variation. Bishop takes knight. So we have a queen to b6, rook from f to b1, a6, king to g2, knight to c6, rook to e1, queen to b5, queen to b1, not trading queens. If queen takes queen, pawn takes queen. In this position, white has no advantage. That is why Carlsen decided to avoid the trade. He played queen to b1. Rook to c7, intending to double the rooks on the c file. h4, rook from f to c8. Black is doing well. Rook to a2, a5, rook to h1, a4, b4, h6, bishop to e3, knight to a7, bishop to d2, queen to e2, rook to e1. Let's take it back. So Carlsen didn't like this continuation. Bishop takes on h6. Discovered the attack on the queen because of rook to c2. After rook takes rook, rook takes rook. Bishop to d2. Rook takes bishop, knight takes rook, queen takes on d2. And black has two pieces for the rook. Back to our game. Rook to e1. Queen to c4. Rook to e3, knight to b5, rook to d3, rook to c6, rook to b2, bishop to d8. Intending bishop to b6. Black is applying the pressure on the queen's side, so Carlsen decided to strike on the king's side. He played g4, intending g5, maybe. Bishop to b6, bishop to e3, knight to c3, queen to f1, queen to b5, rook to c2, knight to e4, rook takes on c6, rook takes rook, rook to d1, rook to c4, knight to d2, attacking the rook, knight takes knight, rook takes knight, queen to c6, queen to e2, rook to c3, rook to a2, bishop to d8, g5, h takes on g5, h takes on g5, queen to c4, queen takes queen, pawn takes a queen, and black has a potentially dangerous passed pawn. d5, e takes on d5, rook to d2, rook to d3, rook takes rook, pawn takes rook, f4, king to f8, king to f3, king to e7, bishop to c5 check, king to e6, king to e3, king to f5, king takes pawn on d3. In this position, Duda played g6. If king takes on f4, then g6, and after f takes on g6, king to d4. This position favors white. Back to our game. g6 was played. And who is better now? If you use an engine, it would say that the position is equal. However, there are two things that work in black's favor. Black king is better placed than the white king, and also white dark squared bishop can't capture any of the black pawns. The game continued. Bishop to e3, bishop to c7. It is white to move. b5. The other way to go was bishop to c5, and then one line goes like this. Bishop to b8, bishop to e3, after b5, bishop to c5, bishop to c7, and it is about equal. Carlsen played b5. b5 made the white's position worse. The game continued. Bishop to d8, king to d4, bishop to b6 check, king to d3, bishop to d8, king to d4. Duda can repeat the position and have a draw, but he wanted more. Bishop to e7 was played, bishop to c1. If king takes on d5, bishop takes on a3. After king to c4, king to e4, bishop to d2, bishop to e7, king to c3, king to d5. Black stands better. Back to our game. That is why Carlsen played bishop to c1, king to e6, bishop to b2, bishop to d8, king to c5, bishop to a5, bishop to c1, bishop to c3, b6. Let's take it back. If king to b6, one line goes like this. d4, king takes on b7, d3, b6, d2, bishop takes on d2, bishop takes on d2, king to c6, bishop takes on f4, b7, bishop takes on e5, black wins. After b6 we have d4, king to c4, king to d7, bishop to e3, bishop to b2. Obviously, if d takes on e3, king takes on c3, white stands better. Back to our game. After bishop to b2 we have bishop takes on d4, bishop takes on a3, bishop to e3, bishop to b2, king to b4, a3, king to b3. White king is busy guarding a2 square, while black king is free to visit the white pawns on the king's side. The game continued. King to e6, king to a2, king to d5, king to b3, king to e4, bishop to d2, bishop to d4, king takes on a3, bishop takes on b6, king to b4. Black played a move and white resigned, and the move is bishop to f2. Carlsen resigned. For the entertainment purpose, I will show you just one line. King to b5, bishop to g3, king to b6, bishop takes on f4, bishop takes bishop, king takes bishop, king takes on b7, king takes on e5, king to c6, king to f5, king to d5, king takes on g5, king to e4, king to g4, king to e3, king to g3, king to e2, king to g2, king to e3, g5, king to e4, g4, king to f4, g3, and white checkmates in 14 moves. That was an epic endgame battle, wasn't it? What do you think of this game? And that is all. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. I wish you good luck with your chess, and bye for now.